Ethan Blake here, and tonight's target is freshly wrapped in scandal, sprinkled with cringe, and baked at 450 degrees of political heat. Whether it's celebrity tantrums or a senator trying to explain economics with finger puppets, I'm here to unpack the idiocy line by line. We live in an age where clowns wear suits and influencers act like prophets. But fear not, I've got sarcasm, caffeine, and zero patience for nonsense. So lean in, laugh hard, and let's roast this circus until the tent catches fire. Welcome to the chaos, we serve it with wit.
Senator Schumer, no disrespect, but you are a disgrace to Jewish stereotypes about financial negotiations. That's just... I thought the whole point of us is that's what we do!
When Jon Stewart drops a truth bomb, nobody's off limits, and Chuck Schumer just learned that the hard way.
Get me going, Chucky. You probably got a little something out of this, didn't you, old C-shoe? You wouldn't have given up that powerful leverage on the budget for nothing. My guess is Chucky got some cheese.
After throwing his own party under the bus, Chuck Schumer became Jon Stewart's latest target on The Daily Show. And let's just say, the takedown was as savage as it was hilarious. I've got all the clips ready to go, so if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss a second of this. Let's dive in.
Republicans need at least 8 Senate Democrats to reach the 60 required votes, or the government's going to shut down at midnight tomorrow night.
Oh, shit. It is on like Donkey Kong.
Jon Stewart kicked things off by reminding his audience that Republicans needed 8 Democratic votes to avoid a government shutdown, an ideal moment for Democrats to bounce back after their bruising loss in November. Many expected the party, still licking its wounds, to use this opportunity to regroup, show some spine, and reclaim momentum. For a brief moment, it looked like they might actually do it. Democrats vowed to vote no, signaling a rare display of unity and strength. It was the perfect setup to energize their base, push back with purpose, and remind voters they still had fight left in them. But what happened next? That's where things took a sharp turn.
Turns out the Byzantine Senate rules have presented a golden opportunity to the minority party. Because the budget the Republicans are proposing is a non-starter.
The Democrats were handed an even greater opportunity when news broke that the proposed budget included major cuts to essential programs in critical areas. This wasn't just political strategy, it was a chance to take a moral stand. The DNC had the perfect moment to demonstrate their core values, rally public support, and prove they hadn't lost their backbone. With public opinion leaning in their favor, all they needed to do was stand firm, stay united, and hold the line. It was a clear-cut opportunity to show the country they were willing to fight for what mattered most. But what followed next revealed a deeper problem, and Stewart wasn't about to let it slide.
This is a terrible CR.
A bill that is designed to hurt the American people.
It would cut by nearly 50% funding for medical research.
To take away nursing home care.
Every Democrat interviewed vowed to vote no and stand by their word. Party leadership had rallied the troops, whipped every senator into line, and built what seemed like a solid, united front to push back against the Republicans. It was a rare and impressive show of unity and determination. The message was loud and clear. This time, they weren't backing down. Momentum was building, the media was watching, and voters were paying close attention. Everything pointed to a defining moment of political courage. But just when it looked like the Democrats were finally holding the line, get ready, because here comes the twist that no one saw coming.
Voting no.
I will be a hard no.
Vote no, hell no.
I am even more hell no.
The stage was set for a high-stakes showdown between Republicans and Democrats. Tensions were at a boiling point, and nerves were stretched thin. Democrats felt confident. They believed they had both the numbers and the momentum to win the day. Meanwhile, Republicans were ready with their own game plan to counter the push. All eyes turned to the Senate floor, waiting for the defining moment. Then, stepping into the spotlight, came Senator Chuck Schumer, the one many believed would make the difference. What he did next would leave everyone stunned.
This abomination of a budget shall not pass. Because, Senator Schumer, please remind the people what is necessary.
Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate.
The message was loud and clear. Democrats appeared united, determined, and ready to take a firm stand. But here's where things took an unexpected turn. In true DNC fashion, just when it seemed like everything was locked in, they swerved. A sudden, surprising U-turn left everyone stunned. What looked like bold resolve quickly dissolved into political backpedaling. The momentum vanished, and so did the confidence. And Jon Stewart? He wasn't about to let it slide. With his signature sharp wit and brutal honesty, he called out the flip-flop for exactly what it was. Another missed moment wrapped in performative politics.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer set off a firestorm heading into this weekend when he changed course and announced he would vote to move forward on a Republican-backed funding bill.
I've always suspected the Democrats were fragile, but I didn't realize they were the dry, brittle kind that crumbles under pressure. When the moment came to show real courage, they folded without putting up a fight. Senator Chuck Schumer expected to lead with strength, bent like a reed in the wind, completely reversing course and backing the Republican bill. Just like that, what was supposed to be a bold act of resistance turned into a spineless retreat. Any hope of standing firm evaporated in an instant, and what remained was yet another example of political posturing collapsing under the weight of real accountability.
I believe it is my job to make the best choice for the country, to minimize the harms to the American people.
But you had say it was terrible.
Yep, that's hypocrisy at its finest. Say one thing today, then flip the script tomorrow. Schumer probably never meant it when he called the bill terrible or vowed to vote against it. Maybe it was all just for show, a bit of political theater to appease the cameras. We may never know his true intentions, but one thing is absolutely clear. The DNC folded when it mattered most. Their lack of backbone isn't just disappointing, it's a betrayal of the very voters they claim to represent. And Jon Stewart? He wasn't having any of it. His takedown was sharp, unapologetic, and a brutal reminder of how far the party has strayed.
Let me go on, Chucky. You probably got a little something out of this, didn't you, old C-shoe? You wouldn't have given up that powerful leverage on the budget for nothing. My guess is Chucky got some cheese.
Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if Chuck Schumer and the DNC struck some quiet backroom deal to walk away from what was a powerful negotiating position. Think about it. What actually changed between the moment they slammed the bill as terrible and when they suddenly folded like a cheap suit? Nothing. At least not publicly. Maybe a few closed-door promises or political favors changed hands, but we'll likely never know for sure. This is exactly why so many Americans have lost faith in the Democratic Party. They talk a big game when the cameras are on, projecting strength and resolve, but when it's time to stand firm, they cave. Every time they're handed a moment to lead with real conviction, they choose the politically safe route instead. And voters are paying attention. They see the pattern, the inconsistency, the lack of courage. Once trust is broken, it's a long, uphill battle to earn it back. And if the DNC keeps making moves like this, they may never recover the credibility they've already lost.
Did Schumer get anything from Republicans in exchange for those Dem votes?
He did not.
I don't buy for a second that Chuck Schumer backed the Republican bill without getting something in return. Do you? It's hard to believe that a seasoned political operator like him would completely flip his stance without some kind of payoff. With the Democrats, it always feels like a game of smoke, mirrors, and mixed signals. But this time, I'm going with my gut. There was likely a quid pro quo involved. Maybe it was a quiet concession buried deep in the budget, a promise of future political backing, or some favor the public will never know about. That's just how Washington works, and Schumer knows how to play the game better than most. The real tragedy? It's the American people who lose. While politicians strike deals in backrooms and spin the outcome like it's for our benefit, voters are left with broken promises and vague explanations. But thankfully, Jon Stewart isn't letting them off the hook so easily. He brings a sharp, honest perspective to this mess, and what he says next is something every voter should hear.
Senator Schumer, no disrespect, but you are a disgrace to Jewish stereotypes about financial negotiations. That's just... I thought the whole point of us is that's what we do.
Jon Stewart, in classic form, runs with the idea that Schumer caved and got absolutely nothing in return. Then he roasts him for it, and it's brutal, hilarious, and cuttingly accurate. Schumer ends up looking like a man cornered with no plan, stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea. And instead of standing firm or negotiating with strength, he simply folded. On one side, people accuse him of making some shady backroom deal. On the other, critics believe he's just not savvy enough to negotiate one in the first place. And honestly, that's the most damning part. Either Schumer sold out for something the public will never hear about, or he walked away from a powerful bargaining position with nothing to show for it. Either way, Stewart doesn't hold back. He paints Schumer as the perfect symbol of weak, directionless leadership. And sadly, it's hard to argue otherwise. It's not just a political misstep, it's a reflection of how far party leadership has strayed from real conviction. And Stewart makes sure the audience doesn't miss that message.
Those of you who may have felt like this was a total capitulation, Senator Schumer just felt like this wasn't the moment for Democrats to press their case because Trump is still too strong.
This is downright laughable because it perfectly highlights just how weak, hollow, and directionless the DNC has become. The party that once stood tall under the leadership of figures like Obama and Clinton, regardless of whether you agreed with them, had strategy, conviction, and a clear message. Today's Democratic Party? It's a pale imitation. All smoke, mirrors, and empty slogans. The bold rhetoric still flows, but when it's time for action, there's nothing but retreat. Instead of standing their ground, they buckle under pressure, compromise on core values, and then act shocked when voters walk away. This isn't leadership, it's political theater. The DNC has abandoned strength for staged optics, swapped long-term vision for short-term polling, and traded principles for shady backroom deals. And now, even their own base is starting to roll their eyes in frustration. The fall from grace isn't just quiet, it's loud, chaotic, and utterly embarrassing. Voters see through it. And Jon Stewart? He's just the guy saying out loud what everyone else is thinking.
Devastating, cascading poll numbers for Democrats. Only 27% of voters have a positive view of the party, the lowest favorability rating in the history of NBC's polling.
Even party insiders are growing increasingly frustrated with the direction the Democrats are heading. They're exhausted, tired of the excuses, the performative gestures, and completely fed up with the spineless leadership steering the ship. You've heard it before. The Democratic Party is collapsing. And now, here's yet another piece of evidence. If you're still in denial, insisting the party isn't sliding headfirst toward political ruin, just wait. Sooner or later, reality will crash down, and it won't be subtle. The cracks are already visible. The base is growing disillusioned, and the leadership appears more out of touch by the day. This isn't just a temporary setback or a political hiccup. It's a full-blown identity crisis. Unless something changes drastically and soon, the Democrats won't just lose a few elections, they'll lose the very soul of their movement. The countdown has already started, and if they don't course correct fast, they're heading straight for political demolition. The clock is ticking, and the silence from leadership is deafening.
This is 48% approval. This is them. This is you. This is you. 27%. This is them.
As I've warned time and time again, the Democrats need to wake up. Whether it's from their slumber, their delusion, or whatever brand of political confusion they're lost in. It's time to stop playing games and start standing for something real. They need to take a long, honest look at the core values and policies that once made them the party of the working class, and then bring that backbone back. Enough with the performative wokeness, the virtue signaling, and the constant pandering to Republican narratives. Democrats shouldn't be chasing approval from people who clearly want to see them fail. They should be laser-focused on rebuilding trust with everyday Americans, working families, small business owners, and voters who feel abandoned by empty promises. The party needs leadership that leads, not leadership that folds under pressure at the first sign of resistance. If they don't rediscover their identity and start acting with principle and conviction, they won't just lose a few votes, they'll fade into political irrelevance. And when that happens, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed our bold commentary, hit the like button and subscribe for more fiery content like this. And if you found it valuable, be sure to share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.